So we now proceed to our last case, wherein the integrand contains the form square root of a squared plus u squared. So for this case, we use now the substitution u equal to a tangent theta, where theta lies from minus pi over 2 until pi over 2, not including both endpoints. Here, given that u equals a tangent theta, then yung du natin, derivative ng left with respect to u, would be derivative ng right, which is a secant squared theta with respect to theta, so that would be times d theta. Again, the goal is to replace here the square root of a squared plus u squared, but this would be equal now to the square root of a squared plus yung u squared natin would be a squared tangent squared theta. So factoring out a squared, you have the square root now of a squared times the quantity 1 plus tangent squared theta. Again, using our identities, yung 1 plus tangent squared theta is actually secant squared theta. So we're taking here the square root of a secant squared theta, a squared secant squared theta, which is a times the absolute value of secant theta. What do we know about secant theta? Again, related kay cosine. So, si cosine, positive siya sa sa domain na to, from minus pi over 2 to pi over 2. So, ganun din si secant. So, this is a secant theta na lang. And so, similar dun sa previous two cases natin, and yung nilat natin dito is u equals a tangent theta. So, yung tangent theta natin is u over a. So, using a right triangle, again, sabihin natin na ito yung angle theta natin. Again, tangent is opposite, so that would be u, divided by the adjacent, which is a. So, the hypotenuse here, using the Pythagorean theorem, is the square root of sum of the squares of the two legs. So, that would be u squared plus a squared, or a squared plus u squared. So, to proceed with our fifth example, let's take a look here at an antiderivative for 1 over 4 plus 9x squared quantity raised to 3 halves. So, notice dito na hindi lang siya square root unlike the previous 4 examples kasi raised to 3 halves siya. Pero, pwede natin siya isipin na itong denominator natin would be the square root of 4 plus 9x squared. Ito yung raised to 1 half and then raised to the third power. So, meron ka pa rin ganong form. So, notice na meron tayo ditong a squared plus u squared. So, here, notice that yung a natin is square root ng 4, so that would be 2. And yung u natin dito would be, again, meron ka 9x squared na u squared, so that would be u equal to 3x. Which means here that we let, again, yung u natin is 3x equal to a is 2. Yung form natin dito is a squared plus u squared, so we use here tangent theta. And so derivative ng left with respect to x would be 3 dx. And then this is equal now to the derivative of the right with respect to the theta. So this is 2 secant squared theta d theta. So which this means here na yung dx is replaced here by 2/3 secant squared theta d theta. Kaya, ito yung makukuha natin. So thus, yung integral ngayon ng dx divided by 4 plus 9x squared raised to 3 halves is equal now to the integral of dx over, again, kopyahin ko yung nasa taas, you have here the square root of 4 plus 9x squared, quantity raised to the third power. Kaya yung meron tayo dito would be, again, dx is replaced here by 2/3 secant squared theta d theta, while yung square root ng 4 plus 9x squared is replaced by a secant theta. So that would be 2 secant theta and then raised to the third power. So to simplify, meron ka ditong 2/3 times 1/8 coming from dun sa 2 cube. So, meron tayo ditong 1/12 integral ng secant squared, tas meron kang secant cube sa denominator. So, meron kang d theta over secant theta. So, to integrate here 1/secant theta, again, gamit lang tayo ng reciprocal identity. So, this is 1/12 integral na lang ng cosine theta, d theta. And so, this is equal now to 1/12 times sine theta, and then plus the constant c. So, to retrieve here kung ano ba yung value ng sine theta, again, nag-let tayo kanina ng 3x equal to 2 tangent theta. So, yung tangent theta natin dito is actually equal now to 3x over 2. Kaya, kung gagamit tayo ng isang right na triangle, then sabihin natin na ito yung theta. Yung opposite natin dito is 3x, yung adjacent natin is 2. So, yung hypotenuse is the square root of 4 plus 9x squared. Again, sum ng squares ng length ng sides. So, yung sine theta for this example, then you have here 1/12. Sine theta would be the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. So, you have here 3x divided by the square root of 4 plus 9x squared, and then plus the constant c. Okay na yan, pero if you want to simplify, meron kang 3/12, so that would be 1/4. So, meron tayong x divided by 4, square root ng 4 plus 9x squared, and then plus the constant c. And so, this is our final answer. So, ito na yung last na example natin for this lecture. If you have the time, pwede nyo itry yung mga exercises na to. So, if magsasuggest ako, siguro you could try example number 4 or exercise number 4 para meron ka pang isang um, example para dun sa third case natin. Pero kung gusto nyong i-practice yung completing the square, you could take a look as well as at number 5. Yun lang. So, thank you for watching this lecture video. Hopefully, naintindihan nyo naman yung lecture. Yun lang. Good luck.